Maria the Witch. For the longest time, this game haunted my mind as an example of why I sucked as a trophy hunter, or even at games in general. And the on-screen footage isn't helping me make an opposing case, I realize, but Maria the Witch had an erroneous platinum completion rate of over 50% for literal years on the PSN. Now that it's fixed, I feel as though my sanity's intact after all. Because the completion rate looked so high, I've chased the ever-loving shit out of this one on occasion, but have also been too stupidly stubborn to start over from scratch and get it done. Confused? Let's start over here. Maria the Witch is a surprisingly addictive yet uber frustrating title which controls somewhere between Flappy Bird and a tank. You tap circle swiftly to move to the right and square to move left, but you also have to contend with the fact that your broom tilts ever more the longer you hold a given button. And we're talking full-on flips if you aren't careful. You do at least get the ability to right yourself by pressing in the opposite direction, but this kills your momentum and thus provides a control scheme which makes the game feel masochistic in terms of progression. Still, retries are bottomless, checkpoints are common, and you occasionally get some helpful bonuses. So it's not one that will leave you feeling like you've wasted a lot of time, or see you throwing controllers in a fit of rage. At least not at first. The thing I failed to realize early in the game was just how important coins are, meaning I wasn't always collecting them appropriately, and I definitely used what I did collect on basic bitch levels. What you want to do is collect them like crazy, saving them for later levels because holy hell. Problem is that this makes the early game even harder than it already is. You can at least go back and collect missed coins at will, but oh my damn. Passageways are entirely too narrow. The controls aren't reliable enough to survive long stretches. You've got to collect and deliver mail as well in order to progress the game. The story here is the literary equivalent of a stick figure drawing. Water changes the physics. There are wind hazards which change movement and momentum as well. The hitboxes are routinely cheap, and to top it all off, certain checkpoints function like challenge traps when it comes to navigating back out of their dead ends, or exponentially more difficult traversal. Oh, and the map tends to not want to move without some trial and error, and not everything is shown to you like you might hope. So there's a fuck ton of promise in the game's design philosophy, but it reminds me of Silksong in the way the difficulty dials up with implements of punishment other games steer clear of for good reason. And these take what should have been a challenging but fun experience and turn them into one that simply wears you down until you turn it off in search of something less demoralizing. There's no trophy guide for this one, but I'd call it an 8 out of 10 for difficulty, and that's without even having seen the last quarter of the bloody thing, which will take at least 10 hours of your time unless you're very, very skilled at controlling this thing. Personally, I'd count on it taking the average gamer much longer than that. Gladly, the list is simple enough. Beat the game, collect the coins, die like sperm in search of an egg, and you're golden. It is the sort of game I'd recommend to folks who dig the sillier sorts of strenuous experiences, but never as one for trophy hobbyists. And the only tip I could think to give here would be to replay stages with differing power-ups in order to collect more coins for the harder stages. If the devs had made the checkpoints universal unlocks for simply reaching them, and given a bit more space to maneuver in the stages, I think this game could have been good. It's got the sort of control which requires some interesting mastery that would appeal to many gamers, but they ruined the potential of Maria the Witch with an asinine approach to hindrances.